Alright, I should be live. Fall goes according to plan. Up, still says playing dumb browser games. That's a no-go. Alright, I should be. Don't need that feedback. Okay. Edit. Alright. I'm very bad at this. Reading my cringy old writing. There we go. Save. I don't know how you spell cringy, whatever. Oh, add an E. Why not? Alright, now we done that. We're on YouTube. Live and all that. Just gotta promote this on Twitter real quick. There we go. And to the Discord. Yes. Alright, just gotta shove it in all servers. Alright. That should be all the promotion and such I need to do. And I won't need this, as I'll have it pulled up on my phone to read the live chat. So, should be good to go. This is gonna be something else. There we go. Now I can sabotage my own chat. Well, yes, I am a total loser, a totally real person who isn't just me on another account. Darn. Alright, might as well get started. Whew, this is a doozy. Alright, yes I do, yeah. Iron Man Trails of Darkness. Okay, Chapter 1. One day, Tony Stark was at a restaurant with Pepper when he heard Jarvis say in his ear, sorry to bother you, sir, but I'm being stolen. What? Okay. So, an operating system AI is getting stolen by a bunch of by a bunch of guys in masks. They're disconnecting me from all the systems and Jarvis, what is it? Tony said. Come on, Pepper. And at that moment, he pushed a button on his wrist. It looked like a watch, and he was Iron Man. Pepper did the same and became Iron Maiden, yes. At the press of a watch button, you two can become a metal band. They flew back to their mansion to find a helicopter firing away. They fired at but missed. And the men inside used a cloaking device and flew away. Someone get this fanfic an Oscar. boy, it sure does suck the Lego message boards got deleted. You know, all this great content being deleted. It's such a shame. Such a shame. Where else could you find fanfics that are high quality with two sentence chapters? Glorious. Chapter 2. Tony stopped. Now what? He asked. Jarvis was my operating system. And how can you steal that without stealing everything on the computer? You know, it's probably, I should have left these buried. Tony, Pepper, who was checking the computer, said, great sentence structure, all the information on here concerning Iron Man is gone. Everything else is fine, but Iron Man is gone. That's why they took Jarvis. All we have now concerning Iron Man in the Iron Man suit you are currently using and the Iron Maiden suit I'm currently using. Who needs a literary degree? I've got this on my resume. Chapter 3. So, with that, Tony began to try and track down the thieves, but to no avail. After 2 weeks, they got a message from them saying this was only the beginning of the revenge on Tony. Ah, that's where we're going with this. I see. In one big run-on sentence. Tony recognized them as classmates of his when he was in high school. He had exposed a plan of theirs to get out of school, and they had been planning how to get him ever since. Boy, some people are just petty, you know. After that, they signed off and began to put their plot into action. This is high-class writing here. Chapter 4. A blast shook the man... A blast shook... Oh, boy, my throat. Jeez. A blast shook the mansion as 3 black Iron Men... Oh, boy. We're getting into some racial tension here, aren't we? Oh, boy. This is quality content. As 3 black Iron men 3 times as big as Iron Man came flying up. And Tony saw their plan. Really, because I didn't. They all fired their boosters at him and he went flying and pursued them for hundreds of miles. After they had flown up to a glacier, they boostered Iron Man into it and then came charging down like 3 thunderbolts. Okay. Chapter 5. They smashed into Iron Man, sending him into the ocean. High came up and fired all of his weapons at them, but to no avail. They were just too powerful. So he and Iron Maiden fled to their secret underground base to regroup. When they got there, Tony started working on the suits to make them ready to fight the Black Iron Man. Oh no. Oh no. Good thing this ain't on Twitter. I'd have a job in 10 years. Chapter 6. But he couldn't find out how they did it. He worked weeks on it, and he couldn't find out how they were made. At last he gave up, sat down, and sulked for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks were up, the back Iron Men, or BIM, found them in the base. So Iron Man suited up and charged the leader of BIM and smashed the suit against sharp rocks and turned the leader over to them. He did this to all of them, and they went home with Pepper. After arriving, he told her that he had upgraded the suit more than he thought. Well, their trouble with BIM was over. For now. Chapter 7. Well, things were quiet, and life went on. Tony had just invented a powerful laser and was taking it to Washington to have used in the army to wipe out enemy bases. Checks out. 3 miles away, a giant robot picked up the armored truck and crushed it, with Tony, Pepper, and the driver barely getting out alive. Okay, you see, we can't have death in this good Christian Lego message boards children's fan fiction. The robot was giant BIM, 10 times bigger than the ones Iron Man had smashed. Bigger is better, you know. Instantly, Iron Man and Iron Maiden went into action. They tried to do what they did with the other MIM, but there was no use. You fools, the BIM said. Those 3 and their petty revenge theme was only a diversion. Then the BIM crushed the suits, and again, Tony and Pepper barely got out alive. So the high school thing revenge was a ruse all along. See, I really, young me was a genius writer, yeah, totally, yeah. Chapter 8. The BIM stooped down and picked them up. He threw them away and said, "No one shall stand in my way. The world shall fall." Well, BIMs can throw pretty far, so soon Tony and Pepper had landed in the Savannah, in the one and only Savannah, capital S, proper noun, where War Machine came flying up. "Sup, guys? What are you doing out here? Thought you were presenting that laser to the government in Washington." "We had a change in plans. A BIM was the reason," Tony said. "BIM? Wow. I couldn't be bothered to write out War Machine. WM said, "I thought you got rid of those punks." "We did, but it was a diversion. The leader is trying to destroy the world, as one does." After that, War Machine picked them up and brought them to their secret cave, where Tony began Operation Save the World. People said Tolkien was a good writer. Like, man. Someone give young me an Oscar for this. Chapter 9. It was not only Tony had to come up with an Iron Man suit that would defeat the BIM, but he also had to start from scratch. He started in after a year or so. He finished the good equivalent of the BIM. You know, because when the world's at stake, you totally have a year to do that. He started up and flew out to save the world. Boy, what a great operation. As he came to the city, he saw he had waited too long. It was in ruins, and the people were running terrified through the streets. Iron Man heard where the BIM went from the only level-headed person in the stricken city and flew off to Chicago. Upon arrival, the BIM, now known as Destroyer, saw them and opened fire. This sent Iron Man down, but it didn't destroy him because of the improved suit. No MacGuffins here. Then he fired back, and at this end, the same thing happened to Destroyer. Thrilling. The two fired back and forth until they got annoyed about their even match. They just couldn't damage their opponent at all. At this, Destroyer got mad and picked up an apartment building and hurled an apartment building at Iron Man. He dodged and threw the Sears Tower at the Destroyer. Quality. That definitely wouldn't kill anyone. Destroyer blasted. It's not the typos, it's my voice. Where was I? Destroyer blasted it in two and tackled Iron Man. Iron Man thought fast while he was under Destroyer. He shot him off, then started flying to the nearest active volcano. You know, because those are common around the Chicago area, you know. It's like, come on, I just tried to drive through Chicago, and then we got two volcanoes in the road. Come on, what do you... After arriving... right. War Machine went ahead to evacuate the surrounding country of the volcano. After arriving there, Iron Man gathered all his reserve energy and blasted Destroyer into the magma pit inside the volcano. It erupted, but the people were safe because they had evacuated. Okay, the end. Wasn't that just just a thrilling tale? Well, obviously that was great, but you know. Next, though, we have a real masterpiece. Probably my greatest achievement in life. If it'll load, please load. War of the Dwarves, which was a novel, heavy quote-unquote, that I wrote for the NaNoWriMo many years ago. Truly, this will be a great read. But this is a true masterpiece, and you know what that means. We need some dramatic music to play in the background. Dramatic fantasy music. 2 hours, most epic orchestral fantasy music. Aw, heck yeah. Let's see. I gotta turn down the volume. Alright. Hopefully the volume is okay there. Let me know, I guess. Do I need to turn it down or something? Or is this good volume? This should be a good volume, I hope. Okay. Yes. Let's get to reading. Alright. War of the Dwarves. Prologue. Now I shall tell you the story of Shakawai the Great, the greatest warlord of the dwarves have ever produced. From the time the world formed to the time the world fell, he's never been topped by anyone before or after his time. Not redundant at all. There was a very wicked man named Jalu. Yeah. And he became a wizard 100,000 years before the beginning of our story. I think I should turn that down a bit, probably. Yeah. Oops. That should be good. Okay. He saw the power of magic and thought that with such power, wizards shouldn't serve the world. They should rule it. After being chased away by the new wizard, he passed Red, the highest level of dark magic. He fled into the great crater, and it is said he is the master of all evil wizards. Riveting. Alright. With that amazing setup, let's go. Chapter 1. A celebration. Celebration was everywhere. No, they were celebrating left. They were celebrating right. I couldn't stop them from the celebrating. Celebrating all over the dang house. Told them to clean it up, but they refused. Then they just left. As the Wizard Day Festival, which was held every decade, was held in the dwarf kingdom of Shilda, Sigam, the wizard, did mystic wonders for the dwarves. Sigam was an old dwarf who, in the art of magic, became taller than all the other dwarves of Shilda. In the crowd of dwarves that was watching, Sagam was... In the crowd of dwarves that was watching Sagam, there was a 17-year-old dwarf named Shakowai. Oh boy, 17-year-old. I relate. He was the skinniest and most athletic of all the dwarves, and his one fear was dragons. You know, you don't meet those too often, so probably lived a good life. He had no family and had only 4 friends: Sam, Sagam, Jim, and Jack. Yes. I was great at naming characters consistently in a way that worked. Sam was an ordinary, long-bearded, 4-foot-tall dwarf with a big appetite, and is a follower of wizardism, the religion of Shilda. Jim was a blacksmith and the strongest of all the dwarves. Yes, literally the strongest. Yeah, right. This hurts me to read. Jack had the biggest appetite of all the dwarves. Get that? 'Cause they eat and stuff. Wizardists. Believe that a wizard is all powerful because of his magic, even though it wasn't true, and that evil spirits dwelt in volcanoes. You know, that follows. You know, wizards are immortal, evil dudes live in volcanoes. It's just how it works. Humans from the kingdom of Shorn also came to the festival. Finally, the Yetis and Sasquatches from the mountains arrived, and the festivities could fully get underway. Now, the standard fare of fantasy races. You got your humans, you got your dwarves, you got your Yetis and your Bigfoots. They all go together. Ugh, Tolkien must be rolling in his grave right now. Anyway. Every decade, the festival is held by a different race. Next time, wow, that's segregation much. Next time, the humans will hold the festival. After that, the Sasquatches, followed by the Yetis, will. The food was brought, and they all ate until they were as stuffed can be. The humans began making music while the Sasquatches and Yetis stomped to the beat. The dwarves pounded on anvils with hammers to the rhythm. Meanwhile, Sagam made more music with his staff. You know, the magical music staff that all wizards use as a part food. I don't know why this hurts. All the people that weren't making music breakdanced. So, the fantasy races of dwarves, humans, Yetis, and Sasquatches did breakdancing. Okay. So it would be frozen right after the break. What? You know, breakdancing, the common dance all fantasy novels know, you know? That was my favorite part of The Hobbit, you know, when they visited the elves and they just started breakdancing to welcome him in. It was wholesome. After the breakdance was over, they all sat at the bonfire and told stories of myth and legend. The first one to tell a story was Sam. He was in the library the other day and read a book about a dragon larger and more ferocious than all other dragons. Intrigued? Legend says that the great dragon is ruled by the Dark Lord. Oh. By the Dark Lord Gassam? Who is an evil wizard. Everyone knew he was real. According to the legend, the great dragon, creative name, can only be destroyed with the magic battle axe, which is in the possession of, Jassam. That sounds a lot better than what was going on in my head. After Sam finished, Jim told the tale. Some real right spelling there. Of the magic hammer. Then Jack told of the magic fork. It was a dream he had once. Get it? Because he likes to eat. Sagam told his story of his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, who was a mighty warrior in the Galland Wars. Gallons are an evil race that went into hiding after the dwarves won the war against them. The magic fork, yes, great. Also, forgot to mention this before because of all the festivities, but dwarves are a race of great warlords. They are very respectable and well-behaved, too. You won't see them getting there into those cookie jars, no siree, except for the ones that like to eat a lot. Get it? Because they eat. There. If you don't mind their big appetites. Yes, great ASMR. Following the story time, we will be crunching mask. Yeah. Hall all but won the Gallant War single-handedly, but he was killed in the last great battle of Namadun, the great city of wonder. It now lies in ruins from the ruthless Galland invaders. After the festival was over, Sagam saw a red eye peeping out of the sky. As you do, you just look up at the sky, see a big old red eye peeping out. It's a common occurrence. He shuddered and went over to Shakoi, who was making jokes. The darn fool, with Jim, Sam, and Jack. The fantasy names of Jim, Sam, and the common fantasy character names. You could probably grab a pop filter or something. I don't know, too much work. Then again, it is right there. So. Fine, if y'all hate my breathing so much. There we go, a nice little filtration system. Shakoi, Sagam said grimly. I fear for the people. My brother Jassam is up to something. I know it. Come with me, you four. We have an adventure awaiting. It will be hard and difficult, and we will be gone for many years. And there's always the chance you won't ever come back when dealing with a wizard like Jassam. Especially when he is the apprentice of Jalu, the fallen wizard. Come now. It's for the sake of all the people in the world. The 5 friends set out on the journey and called themselves Alliance of Peace, or AOP. This music playing is very appropriate to what is being read. This is bad, but I'm in amazement as to how incompetent it is. I am impressed at young me. He really... Right. Chapter 2, The Journey Begins. The AOP set out on the journey. The road was treacherous and crowded with the Zias, the henchmen of Jassam, which made tough going, as you can imagine. Yes, I won't tell you about it in my book designed to tell a story. I'm just gonna let you imagine that the road was a hard time. But they made it through, because Sagam used his magic staff to make them invisible. Yes. And this is like the cheapest stuff I've ever seen to try and make it, to give myself less work in writing. But what did they look like? How should I know? What do you think, I wrote this or something? They had to cross the Valley Gorge. Were they furries? Well, you know, Yetis and Sasquatches, those are known for their hair. Are you kidding me? That'd actually be creative. What do you expect? I'm not even sure if I describe them later on. We'll have to see. I definitely didn't describe them here. Well, come on, they're evil henchmen. What do you think they look like? Puppies? They had to cross the Valley Gorge, a treacherous place where many Zia outposts loom over everyone and everything to keep people away from the Great Crater. I was great at naming things. The crater was the supposed, allegedly, aftermath of Jalu's rage. Invisibility was necessary again because I'm too lazy to write actual conflict. They made camp for the night and ate cold food because a campfire would attract Zias. When the morning finally came, they went to Aval Volcano, the supposed hideout of Jassam. It can't be that easy, can it? Sagam thought as they entered Aval Volcano. Shakoi, Sam, Jim, and Jack were uneasy because of the wizardist belief that evil spirits dwelt in volcanoes. You know, the two core main beliefs of this very complex and well-developed religion. Wizards are all powerful, and evil spirits are in volcanoes. That's all the dogma you need. Sounds like a religion I would follow. Just then a dragon came flying into the volcano, and Shakawai, 'cause he's scared of dragons, get it, ran, but the dragon pursued. Sagam then zapped the dragon with his magic staff, and the AOP retreated from Aval Volcano as it erupted. For magic being used in volcanoes makes the atmosphere inside unstable, and that always causes eruptions. And that was the end of that. A plus conflict. And I guess they just gave up after that at the end. The next stop was the human kingdom of Shorn to get military support so the army could rush to the dwarfs. Yes, the official plural of dwarfs. Could rush to the dwarf's aid at a moment's notice if necessary. They traveled on and on through forests, valleys, and rivers, getting closer and closer to Jassam's real castle. That name is never gonna not throw me off every time I see it. The world of Quentin. Okay. I guess that's what the fantasy world they all live in is called. Quentin. Thrilling. The world of Quentin was never crossed so fast by anyone before, for they had supersonic speed. The battles they endured were epic and long. But God forbid I actually write those battles out and give the story any interest. Sometimes they fought Zeas for 2 days in succession without stopping. There seemed to be no end to the war they were in. Sometimes Zeas would close in on all sides. It seemed hopeless, but there was a hope after all. It seems like a lot of this could have been averted if they hadn't just abandoned the whole invade the castle plan. Because, that shouldn't have been too easy. Under a stone, they found the magic battle axe. You just fighting all day, and then you just kick over a pedal, and boom, magic MacGuffin. World to save. There you go. A+. No magic quest, no nothing. You just turn over a random pebble, and boom, you're powerful. After that, they sent word to the humans that they were going to need them. They got onto a boat to go to Quadar, translated the dragon's mouth. But when they got there, it was a trap! When the humans arrived, they were dreadfully outnumbered and out-weaponed. The magic battle axe vanished into thin air because it was a fake planted by Jasmine. A very well thought out trap plan. You see, you just place a fake MacGuffin under a random rock. Hope that your enemies happen to find it underneath that rock for some reason. Then, hope they then form a military force and attack you because they have the magic axe. I don't see anything wrong with that plan. Clearly, it's flawless. All of the humans were killed and dwarfs captured. The Zeas had won by deceit. I sense some discrimination here. You kill all the humans, but all the dwarfs you just capture? I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted at the goal of all this. Chapter 3. Prison. Every paragraph, this just gets worse. This just... After 4 days of waiting, Azia came in and said, "Come, Dwarf Sam, I banish you now." For that is the usual grammar of Zia's. Boy, you don't get to know what they look like, but they do have some funky grammar, you know what I'm saying? Sam went with the guard. The hours and days dragged on and on. The guard came back 5 hours and 7 days later with some food and a young she-dwarf of about 17. Ooh, I sense a romance afoot. The guard hurled her in, slammed the door, and left. Alright, time for some grade A dialoguing. Let's go. Who are you and how did you end up here? Sagam said.
My name is Octavia of Raiden. I'm trying to stop I'm trying to stop Jason.
Sure, we tried that and now we're here, Jim muttered. Wait, Sagam said. You say you're from Raiden, the city of Isidore?
Yes. Now who are you guys?
I'm Sagam. And they are Jim, Jack, and Shakurai. Sagan said. The guard came in again with a 17-year-old he-dwarf. "Let go of me, you filth!" he screamed. "I am Nairo Isidore Rodilden." Oh. Just gonna ignore that. The Zia guard hurled Nairo. In slammed the door and left. "So you're Nairo Isidore Rodilden, the missing prince of Raiden," Sagan said. "Yes, I am. The barbaric, beardless beasts that call themselves Zias captured me just as I entered Jassam's castle." Nairo barked. "You are a fool to take on such a task alone. Look where it got you. Next time, seek advice and help first," Sagan advised. "And who are you to give me to... Oh, and who are you to advise me, old man?" Nairo demanded. "I am but a simple wizard who has lived longer than you have, boy," Sagan bellowed. Nairo wisely shut up. "Now, I do agree that we should get out of here soon, but we have no plan. The Zias are probably listening in anyway." The Zia came back in with yet another he-dwarf. "Must we capture the dwarves day for those Zias?" Grade A comedy. The guard hurled the dwarf in, shut the door, and left. "Who are you?" Sagan said. "Oh." I forgot about this character. This was a masterpiece of my old writing. You see, the NaNoWriMo site had a thing of writing challenges you could do to slot into your story and make it more interesting. And one of them was a dude who spoke only in big words. So I looked up the most obscure synonyms for every word possible. This is gonna be good. "Who are you?" Sagan asked. "I'm known as... I need to sound it touchy. "I'm known as Britonorm, but my nom de plume is Phil." What's a nom de plume?" Shakoi asked. "Nom de plume is a pseudonym for a wordsmith." Oh. "What do you say?" Shakoi wondered. "Don't ask," Sagan warned, reading Shakoi's mind. Yes. The common wizarding power that has no bearing on anything, reading his mind, and unless I just meant that he inferred what was going on, but come on, what? "Okay," Shakoi said. "Now, how do we liberate ourselves?" Phil asked. "I don't know. Give me some time to think it over. I may come up with a plan yet," Shakoi said.
Why is he planning all of a sudden? Is it just because he's the main character? Because he's the main character? Is that because I wanted him to be the main character, so I have to give him credence even though he has literally no reason to be making a plan because he's surrounded by more capable individuals? Right! "Appeal acknowledged. You may contemplate the resolution in silence. In fact, so much silence you could hear a pin drop," Phil stated. Sure, thanks," Shakoi stammered. After 10 minutes, Shakoi jumped up and said, I got it! What? Sagan shouted. What? All we have to do is take the spoons and dig our way out. Shekawai, dang, what?
This must be because I was trying to incorporate synonyms for said, so I wasn't saying said all the time, but good grief. Spoons?
Jim criticized. Yep, spoons. It's a loose dirt floor, easy to dig through. We can dig under the bed in shifts at night. What do you think?
Okay, let's do it, Sagam agreed.
Very clever plan. Clearly only the main character has enough prestige to come up with such an amazing plan. Truly. And you know, what else would Wizard Boy do but agree that it's genius, for that's what it is, you know? You know. Boy.
Oof, why are people talking in the Discord chat? Talking live chat, you fools. I'm not reading Discord except for the fact that I'm doing it right now. To make sure you're not. Oh, boy. Alright. Jim had the first digging shift, so he moved the bed and began to dig. Just dig. It's amazing how much soft dirt can be moved in 1 hour with a spoon that's in the hand of a strong dwarf. In 1 hour, the AOP was halfway to freedom.
Yes! Such a thrilling, exciting tale. I'm on the edge of my proverbial seat to find out what happens next.
Don't stop, Jim. Keep digging and it'll get us out by midnight, Sagam said.
Oh, I see. They gave him the first shift, but then just had him finish it. They just shoved off all the work on poor Jim, man. This guy's my favorite character, the poor guy. He needs some help. He needs some real friends, you know. Stop hanging around these guys. So Jim kept digging and digging and digging like a mole until they were free. You know how moles dig with spoons? The normal mole thing to do. You know, just dig with spoons. Chapter 4, The Great Sea. Oh, this music is so fitting. Music that the humans were not interested into going into another battle after what happened last time. You know, it's definitely not a normal thing in war. You know, normally in war, everyone gets out alive and you just whack each other with sticks for a few hours. So, Shakawai, Sagam, Jack, Ritzanorm, Zyro, and Octavia, the 7 members of the Alliance of Peace, had to fight the battle alone. So many characters, and they're all so fleshed out and interesting. The Alliance of Peace fought long and hard against the Zia forces. The battle was the most epic they had fought yet. So epic, in fact, that I couldn't even attempt to describe it in words. Nairo was too hot-headed to fight and live, so that was the end of Nairo Isidore Rodilden. Ah. That's one way to say the character died. Why did he have to die? He was the best one. He had so many great line. He had a line. That's all you need to establish a good character, folks. Take it from me, the master writer. Okay. Zias were dying No, not what's his name? He was your favorite. I'm sorry, man.
Young me was so cruel to the poor readers. Zias were dying, spelled like the coloration fluids, but there were too many of them. For every Zia killed, 5 took his place, and the Alliance of Peace had to flee the battlefield. The Zias pursued them and captured Octavia. No, not her. Not fleshed out female character, no. Fleshed out female character was my favorite. Then a dragon named Hajibrun, translated, "Ha, you're gonna burn." A very proper translation, you know. All the great dragons of legend translated, he, I'm squishing you. Great stuff. Great. Just quality writing. So the dragon came and almost is the best art form. So the dragon came and almost ate good fleshed out female character. But Hajbrun didn't, because Shakoi, the one who's most athletic and afraid of dragons, jumped up and saved her just in time. Wow! He conquered his fear. What a fulfilling character arc! The surprised Hajbrun flew away. You know, the dangerous dragons that just swoop off right at the slightest bit of resistance. Well, Octavia fainted with fright long ago, and Shakoi lost consciousness soon after he landed because of his adrenaline rush. But that didn't stop the Zias. They were still attacking. So Sagan blasted them with his magic staff to make them back off, to give the AOP time to flee. Ooh, an intentional rhyme. Forgot about this. Yes, I'm proud of Young Me for bringing that up. You know, subtlety is an overappreciated art that just it takes away from good storytelling. I'd rather just be told again and again and again the same things. It's what I prefer. Oh boy, this part. Okay, so apparently when I was writing this as a young dumb, I decided that a good way to get different languages was rather than just write gibberish, I would use Google Translate to translate it into like Turkish or whatever it was. I forget what it was, but into some other language. And just have that, but with the proper stuff in parentheses. So I'm just gonna read the parentheses, quote unquote translations, rather than trying to decipher this actual random language I just chose to be the fantasy language. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Yeah. After that failure, the Alliance of Peace went to Emverskel, translated the Great Turbulence. The sea they had to cross to get there was full of monsters, including, but not limited to, the following: Orabs, Senibs, Karokos, Urnrils, and Genoives. You know, the very popular and well-known sea monsters. The monsters they came across were Hware, deadly, and Sailor hungry. That sea is a dangerous place for those who dare to cross it. Suddenly, they heard someone scream like he was being eaten. Help, help! What does it mean, Sigam? Shakawai asked.
Help, it continued. Help, help, save me from this miserable place. There are monsters all around me. Help!
He seems to be speaking in some ancient tongue. Where are you? Britonorm asked.
I am over by the big rock, the voice answered. Grab hold of the staff.
What is your name?
My name is Fireson, Fireson said. Oh boy, this is awkward to try and read. He says his name is Fireson, Britonorm translated.
Where do you come from? Sigam asks.
Okay, let's just get this part of it. Where do you come from? Sigam asked. I'm from the Isle of Ancients, Fireson answered. Suddenly they heard a horrific scream / roar / growl / howl. It was too... The noise was too horrible for just one noise of Ah! Sea monsters! We need to fly from here! Well, actually, we're on a boat. We can't exactly do that, so... The ship they were on was in the grip of a mighty Orad, a sea monster similar to a kraken. Then why? Why did I not just have a normal kraken? Why did I need to come up with all these extra names for things I would never describe? This is a masterpiece. The tentacles wrapped around the ship's poop deck. The wood cracked and splintered with a mighty roar as the ship capsized and sank. The drowning dwarves held fast to the Orad's tentacles as they watched the good ship Jemmy, such a good ship, sink to the bottom of the ocean. Jim killed the Orad by stabbing its brain through the eye. Boy, what a thrilling conclusion to that terrifying encounter. I sure thought they were gonna die. Sigam then used his staff to make a raft out of the beast's carcass to help them over the last mile to shore. When they got to Ernversko, they set up camp and slept. Okay. So this terrifying kraken creature yoinks their ship. So they do the normal thing and just stab it easily. I don't see anything wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. Oh boy, I'm already an hour into this stream, so the stream has already gone on an hour. I'm not far into. So tune in next time for the thrilling conclusion of this amazing literary masterpiece. I think that's gonna do it for tonight. So yeah. Stay groovy, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'll just stream again at some point and pick up at chapter 5 where they meet the Yetis. Oh joy. Remember that one scene from Dead Man's Chest where he was easily stabbed, cracking, kill it, throwing stuff? Yes, it was. That was my that was my favorite parts of the Blurbrian, the Carubin, the Pirates of the Carubin. Yeah. Anyway, I'm tired of talking. It's been an hour. I'm gonna cut off that stream here and pick up at chapter 5 for the next stream. Yeah, that's all.